Kate's in the kitchen, and you're invited too. I'm Kate, and this is my kitchen. I'm getting ready for Cinco de Mayo. Now my daughter-in-law, her heritage is largely Mexican, so I want to make something delicious for her. But I also wanted to challenge myself to making a dish using only ingredients found in my pantry or in my refrigerator. So I did not go to the grocery store. And what I'm going to make is what I call Mexican Fiesta soup. If you went to a Mexican fiesta, you'd expect a few things. Maybe some tacos with some kind of ground meat. So I have some ground beef and some chorizo. Maybe some beans or refried beans. So I've got both pinto beans and black beans. I love elotes at a fiesta. That's my favorite thing. So I've got some corn here. And then I've got some savory items like garlic and celery and onion and my seasonings. So let's get started. I'm going to get started with the aromatics first. A little bit of olive oil, and I've got half of a medium onion diced up. We'll get that going. To the onion, I'm going to add about a half a cup of diced celery. And I'm just going to let those soften up just a bit. I've got 3 cloves of garlic minced, and I'm going to put that in. The vegetables have softened a bit. I'm going to add my ground beef and my chorizo and brown those up. Just going to chop these up and get them nice and browned. I like to add a little bit of tomato paste while I'm browning the meat because I like to actually brown the tomato paste as well. Give it a little caramelization. It deepens the flavor. So I've got about 2 tablespoons or so. And I'm just going to toast that up a bit. Alright, I've got the meat starting to brown. I don't need to cook it all the way through because obviously we're going to cook this soup for a good bit of time to bring all the flavors together. To this I'm going to add 1 cup of beer. Now I did not have any Mexican beer in my refrigerator, so I had to go with what I had, which was an ale. The beer will bring a depth of flavor, but it's also going to help tenderize the meat even more. To the meat mixture, I'm going to add my spices. I've got a half teaspoon of black pepper and a half teaspoon of salt. Because there is salt in some of the canned items, I don't want to go overboard. I can always add more later. I've got a teaspoon of ground cumin, a half teaspoon of coriander, and a teaspoon of Mexican oregano, which I like to break up in my palm to release the flavor. Go ahead and mix that all in. I didn't have any chipotle peppers in the pantry as I usually do, but I did have chipotle sauce. So basically it's the adobo sauce that you get inside a can of chipotle peppers. And I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of that. I'm going to reserve a little bit because I don't want to make it too spicy, but I like this sauce because it brings a smokiness. I took 4 peppadews and chopped those up to give just a little bit of heat. I've got a can of diced green chilies. I've got a half of a roasted red pepper. So we have all kinds of pepper going in here. I've got a can of black beans. And a can of pinto beans, and I did not drain these. The liquid in there will actually help thicken up the soup. And you can hear it bubbling away. I've got a can of fire roasted tomatoes and a can of sweet corn. Now you can add whatever you like to this soup. You could add diced bell pepper. You could add cilantro. Our family, my daughter and I, don't care for cilantro, so I actually will put cilantro on the side as one of the garnishes. You can see that's looking nice and thick already, like a chili. And I'm going to add some low sodium beef stock. It's going to thin this out, but as the soup cooks, because I have to make sure the meat gets done, a lot of this liquid will evaporate, and again, it'll end up almost like a thick chili. So that's all there is to it, and now we're just going to let it cook for maybe 30 minutes or until the meat is done and it gets thick, and then we'll serve it with some delicious garnishes on the side. Even before this is done cooking, you can see why I call it Mexican Fiesta soup. It's got all the colors of a fiesta. You got the yellow from the corn, the red from the peppers and tomatoes, you got a little bit of green from the green chilies, and then you've got the black beans. So it's quite a colorful soup, and we're going to make it more colorful when it's finished and we top it. Here we have the finished soup. It's rich and hearty, almost like a chili. And we're going to do a little bit of doctoring this up with some garnishes. I've got a full array of garnishes here. I've got some chopped cilantro, sliced olives. My favorite taco place in town has a toppings bar, and they have quick pickle carrots, cucumbers, and radish. So I kind of took a spin off of that. I've got finely diced carrots. Rather than put it in the soup and cooking it down soft, it's going to be my crunch factor. We've also got some cucumbers, some shredded cheese, fresh limes, some tortilla chips. Now you could make your own. You could do triangles, cut the circular tortillas into triangles and fry them up. You could do strips like you see in Mexican tortilla soup, or you can just buy some. I've got some jarred jalapenos, my favorite hot sauce, and a little bit of sour cream. Now to get this sour cream so that you can get it on there in a nice beautiful dollop, give it a little whip with your spoon. Softens it up a little. You can give it just a little dollop there. Okay. I'm going to go with a few slices of cucumber. Some carrots. Now the carrots are going to give it even more of that fiesta look because of the brightness. A few black olives. I don't like cilantro, so I'm going to skip that. And then a squeeze of lime. Now you could make this a vegetarian dish and just leave out the meats, or substitute in a plant-based meat product. Whatever you want to do. So, time to taste it. Time to taste the soup. I'm going to try and get a little bit of everything. A little sour cream, get an olive on there. Oh, I forgot cheese. Oh my. I'm going to lose my Wisconsin citizenship. Get me some cheese on there. A little extra lime. Absolutely delicious. If you want to make this fun for your kids, you can get some of these tortillas that are a little cup shaped, and don't give them a spoon, and just dip it up. Try to get a little bit of everything. It's very hearty and satisfying, but it's lighter than a typical chili. And you notice I did not put in any chili powder because I wanted more of the fresh flavors to come through. It's a really beautiful, easy soup made out of your pantry. Happy Cinco de Mayo.